Oh, there goes the microphone. Live from New York. We're not in New York and it ain't Saturday night, guys. That show's been on the air for 40 years and I've never watched an episode of Saturday Night Live, but I really like Will Ferrell as Alex Trebek. He's all in all of our prayers. Alex Trebek, not Will Ferrell. I am going to sit here and talk to you tonight for a little bit about the Criterion Collection. First of all, Barnes & Noble, if you're interested at the end of this video, Barnes & Noble is doing their twice annual 50% off Criterion Collection. And that's really good because these movies are really, really expensive. Generally, Blu-rays run about $50, DVDs run about $30, and you can get those for half off all of the month of November, all the month of July, and I really, really wish Barnes & Noble was paying me to say that. But I'm plugging them for no reason. And I'm about to plug the Criterion Collection for absolutely no reason. So, I have about 30 Criterion films in 30 more than that because I have some of their original design films, but for some reason I don't count those because I'm a weird perfectionist. Not important. So I tried to pick a good mix, representation of like a little bit of world cinema, a little bit of old films, like maybe a Western or two, to just give you a feel of what we're working with. So the Criterion Collection started, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, about in the late 90s, and the Criterion Company is really responsible for like DVDs as we know them, as with all their special features and discs, commentaries, the whole thing, or more than multiple disc collections, commentaries, special features. They really pioneered all of that at the beginning of when DVD was starting to take over from VHS. So they had mainstream films like Armageddon, Chasing Amy, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, all kinds of stuff like that you wouldn't think of when after we get done this, you'd be like, they had Armageddon in their collection alongside all this other stuff? Yes, they did. But you know what? Even Michael Bay gets one every once in a while. So I have a collection, a small representation of my collection here of really good, like a little bit of world cinema and good representation of like what you're getting into. If you want to start shopping Criterion, there's going to be something for everybody here. So this Bicycle Thieves to start out with I got it as a Christmas present last year. And it was at the beginning of the Italian neorealism wave, which started after World War II. And this is a post-World War II film. Sort of shows a little bit of the desperation of Italy after the war. And it's an interesting portrait of a man who's really just trying to provide for his family. And it's an Italian, and it's about 89 minutes, not very long. But you wouldn't be able to find this anywhere else because it's just kind of forgotten in the backwaters of international cinema, but Criterion saved it, brought it to their collection, and I highly, highly recommend it. Try to do like less of a review on this and more just like this is what you're getting if you get into Criterion. So you get this. As far as French goes, so there's two films and two sort of eras of French cinema. So first of all, we'll start with Beauty and the Beast, which came out in 1946. So really, 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 really post World War II. And it's very important. World War II is very important to note in these sorts of things because it had obviously an impact on the world, but it had an impact on the way the world thought, on cinema, on how we made films as a culture and other cultures as well. But this is a very sort of straightforward, straight-laced, like this is Beauty and the Beast, and we're just going to play it straight. You're going to get from point A to point B. It's just your general fairy tale story. Very escapist. Not my favorite version of Beauty and the Beast, but a good representation of what they were doing right after World War II. Now, we jump ahead a couple of years to 1959, and we have French New Wave, when things got a little bit more experimental, a little bit, I don't know, I want to use the word wonky, but sort of experimental in terms of like cinematography and stuff and how things were perceived. This film has a plot, but it's kind of loose scenes just kind of connected about the life of this boy and how he struggles in school and with his family and stuff like that. I'm really not good at like commenting on like what was this film saying? What was Truffaut trying to say with this film? He was just writing a story about a boy. It was semi-autobiographical, and it's a harsh film to watch a little bit because there's not a whole lot of happy in it, unfortunately. But it's interesting, and it started French New Wave, which bled into like American cinema, and then you had all these Silicon Valley directors coming out, like Francis Ford Coppola, Spielberg, Lucas, and Scorsese, apologies, coming out and being inspired by all these films that were going on internationally. Well, America was still like stuck in the point A to point B, nothing real experimental going on until like the 70s. So America was a little behind in the new wave of filmmaking, which did start with Bonnie and Clyde. See my previous review. And jumping forward to America, we have Two Lane Blacktop, the coolest film ever made, by far. Rob Zombie did a song about it, but that doesn't make it cool because Rob Zombie's Rob Zombie. No real beginning to this film, no real ending to this film. It's just kind of there. No real character has a name. It's just about two guys racing across America in their car, and they pick up this girl, and that's about it. But it's an interesting, you wouldn't be able to find it anywhere else sort of thing. But Criterion picked it up, put it in their collection. Highly recommend this one. I will do a real quick review of this. Watch it. Grade A. Plus, plus, plus. So as far as older films go, we have One-Eyed Jacks, which was the only directorial effort of Marlon Brando, and in prime Brando fashion, he fired Stanley Kubrick the first day that filming started. So Stanley Kubrick prepped this film, and then he went over budget and over schedule because he's Marlon Brando, and he's going to do whatever he wants and will eat it up because he's one of the most talented actors in the last century. But their Criterion will pick up old westerns like this. I have a couple John Wayne films that were kind of lost in the mix of, you know, all of John Wayne's many accomplishments. And then finally, 1934, Frank Capra, you may know him from It's a Wonderful Life. He did this film and won Best Picture, which you can't find this one anywhere else. So Criterion, what they do is they pick up these older, more forgotten films, some indie cinema, some international cinema. There's newer stuff, like most of Wes Anderson's films get put right into the Criterion Collection shortly after they're released onto DVD. Noah Baumbach, who did Squid and the Whale, he did one on Netflix very recently with Ben Stiller and Adam Sandler, and I can't remember the name of that. And he had one, Squid and the Whale is in Criterion, as well as his other film, Frances Ha. So with Criterion, you're going to get good films, you're going to get quality for your money, and you're going to get stuff you've never seen before. So if you're interested in the Criterion Collection, I hope I gave a brief overview to show you, like, hey, they go from this all the way over to this. There's a lot of Japanese cinema in there, some Korean films. I have a collection of a Polish TV series called Decalogue. I mean, when are you going to watch a Polish film ever? Like, who just decides, I want to watch some Polish TV right now? But as a brief overview, I think I had a pretty good representation in there just to give you an idea of what's going on. Remember, until the last week in November, 50% off Barnes & Noble. If you're interested in getting into it, now is definitely the time to do it. That's all I have for you today, guys. Please remember to like, subscribe, share this video. Follow my Facebook and my Instagram, both of them at Marauders_Snap. Or Facebook is Marauders Snap Movies and Instagram is Marauders_Snap. And please remember, don't ever forget, Taylor Swift doesn't care about you.